let me introduce my family. I'm Margaret Wilson, though everyone calls me Maggie. I'm 63 years old. After graduating from the University of Virginia, I worked as a branch manager at Chase Bank for many years before retiring a decade ago. These days, I find purpose in volunteering at First Baptist Church. My husband Thomas is 65. He's an engineer who studied at MIT and had a brilliant career at General Electric. Even now, he's meticulous and hardworking, spending his weekends at the Kingsmill Golf Club. Our son David is 35, a CTO at a tech company and a Stanford graduate. His wife Jennifer comes from a prominent Boston family. They've made their home in a lovely house within the same Kingsmill resort where we live. And then there's my treasure, my 8-year-old grandson Kyle. He's a third grader at Williamsburg Christian Academy, a smart boy who excels at swimming. My mother Mary, who passed away 2 years ago, was the founder of a successful local department store chain. She adored Kyle and left him a trust fund worth $70 million. We live a life of comfort in the upscale Kingsmill Resort near Williamsburg, Virginia. On a misty morning at Kingsmill Resort, the perfectly aligned colonial-style mansion stretched toward the sprawling green golf course. In our garden, the antique roses my mother cherished are blooming beautifully again this year. Grandma, what was the sermon about at church today? When I return from First Baptist Church, Kyle is always waiting at the door. The world reflected in his innocent eyes must surely be more beautiful than the one we adults see. Mother left such a large trust fund for his future. Mother's final words still echo in my ears. Maggie, I trust your family. Thomas and David will surely be good trustees. True to Mother's words, we want for nothing now. But sometimes, I feel a slight unease in this too perfect daily life. Like a single raindrop falling on a still lake, it disappears quickly. And yet, on a crisp July morning, I stand in the kitchen where the roses in the garden shimmer in the morning sun. The antique roses that Mother carefully tended are now under my care. The way the morning dew sparkles like jewels on the petals was Mother's favorite sight. Good morning, Maggie. Thomas appears with his newspaper, as usual. His meticulous nature hasn't changed since retirement. He's already preparing for his early morning round at Kingsmill Golf Club. Navy polo shirt, white pants, and the gold cufflinks Mother gave him. His perfect appearance might be a point of pride from his MIT engineering days. I pour coffee into a small white cup and begin my devotional time. Prayer words quietly fill the room. This peaceful morning ritual is a precious habit inherited from Mother. Sitting in a decked chair by the pool with my Bible open, the morning sun reflects off the water's surface like scattered diamonds. The tranquility after completing my daily routine at First Baptist Church is comforting. Grandma. Kyle's energetic voice breaks the silence. He comes running with his new swimming goggles. My grandson, the most popular child in First Baptist Church's Sunday school, brightens up everyone around him. In his white polo shirt and khaki shorts, he looks like he stepped right out of a magazine. Kyle, did you eat your breakfast? Yes. Mom made her special pancakes. They were delicious with lots of blueberries and maple syrup. Jennifer always shows off her culinary skills during weekend breakfasts. Having grown up in a prestigious Boston family, her cooking is first class. Lately, her menus have become especially elaborate. But recently, something seems different about her. Those dark circles under her eyes worry me. Maggie, may I join you for the Whole Foods shopping trip this weekend? Jennifer places her hand on my shoulder from behind. The scent of her Chanel perfume mingles with the morning air. Of course. Your sense of style is wonderful. You're much better at choosing organic vegetables than I am. Thank you. Actually, David seems to be thinking a lot about Kyle's future lately, including the education fund and everything. Jennifer's voice trembles slightly during our casual conversation. Her hand tenses on my shoulder. That's natural, isn't it? He's our precious son. Yes, but sometimes, his intensity frightens me. What do you mean? Oh, it's nothing. Jennifer suddenly changes the subject and starts planning the weekend menu. There seemed to be a hint of panic in her gesture. Sunday at First Baptist Church. As hymns fill the air, we sit together as a family. Kyle's clear voice rings out like an angel's. The Virgin Mary painted on the church ceiling seems to smile down gently. During the fellowship time after service, we enjoy our usual Chick-fil-A lunch. Family smiles around the table, a familiar scene, yet something feels off. Hey, Kyle! David calls out to his son, holding a new video camera. The latest Sony model just arrived last week. Dad, are you filming again? Yes, I want to document your growth. Especially this summer, I want to capture lots of memories. Come on, look this way. Isn't this a bit excessive? Everyone. Thomas spreads a brochure on the table. The glossy pages display vibrant photos of Busch Gardens. How about a family trip to Busch Gardens this summer? Kyle's eyes light up at those words. But for a moment, I catch David and Jennifer exchanging glances. A dark shadow seems to cross their expressions. I agree. Let's go before it gets too hot. My words ease the family's expressions. Yet I can't shake the feeling that something lurks behind those smiles. On the drive to Kyle's swimming lesson, he suddenly says, "Grandma, adults are strange sometimes." What do you mean? Mom and Dad really want to take photos and videos lately. But their smiles seem different. And I've seen Dad on the phone with someone twice in the middle of the night. The reflection of my grandson in the rearview mirror looks oddly mature. His observant nature, unusual for an 8-year-old, catches me off guard. That night, looking through photo albums in my bedroom, Mother's last words come back to me. "Maggie, my final gift. It will surely bring happiness to your family." The photos in the album certainly show happiness. But now, I can't shake the feeling that some unseen shadow lurks behind these perfect smiles. Tomorrow will bring another happy morning, I want to believe. Yet why does my heart grow heavier by the moment? From the deck, I look up at the night sky where stars twinkle quietly. In our too-perfect daily life, something is definitely beginning to change. Pulling into the parking lot of Patrick Henry Mall, the largest shopping center in the Hampton Roads area. The summer sun beats down on the lot filled with luxury vehicles. Today we're shopping for our upcoming Busch Gardens trip. Kyle, don't forget sunscreen. At my reminder, Jennifer hastily begins searching through her purse. Her Louis Vuitton bag contains several envelopes I've never seen before. Oh, documents? Yes, just insurance renewals and such. She quickly pushes the envelopes deeper into her bag. There's something hurried about her movement. Inside, the mall bustles with weekend activity. Kyle stops in front of the swim shop, examining new swimsuits. This blue one looks cool. It does. But maybe we should get a size larger. Jennifer's words give me pause. We've always bought Kyle's clothes to fit exactly, so why? Oh, David. Aren't you working? Unexpectedly, we run into my son at the mall. He's in an expensive suit, deep in conversation with an unfamiliar man. Upon seeing us, he quickly bows to his companion and says goodbye. Just a quick meeting. We have a client nearby. On a Sunday. That's demanding. Business never sleeps. David's response is cheerful, but tension shows in his expression. Over lunch at the Cheesecake Factory, we plan our Busch Gardens trip. Brochures spread across the table. Apollo's chariot has a height restriction, so Kyle probably can't ride. But Griffin should be fine. The safety measures are perfect, no need to worry. There's an unusual certainty in Thomas's voice. His typical engineer's caution seems somewhat diminished. Where should we take commemorative photos? The Ireland section would be nice. The background is beautiful. We should take videos too. As conversation flows, Kyle whispers in my ear. Grandma, aren't Mom and Dad obsessing about photos a lot? His words take my breath away. Indeed, lately they've been unusually fixated on preserving photos and videos. Almost as if they're trying to document evidence of something. Ah, right. David suddenly stands up. I need to take this call. Important business with the insurance company. He hurriedly leaves the table. Through the restaurant window, I can see him talking to the same man from earlier. Insurance? Yes, they've been calling frequently lately. About life insurance reviews and such. Jennifer's voice trembles. She downs her water in one gulp and excuses herself to touch up her makeup. Meanwhile, Kyle quietly eats his cheesecake. But his eyes carefully observe the adult's behavior. Grandma. Yes, dear. I'm excited about making summer memories. But. Everyone seems different. Not like usual. Those words weigh heavily on my heart. Indeed, the family atmosphere has been gradually changing lately. Though peaceful and happy on the surface, something ominous seems to lurk beneath. By the time we finished shopping and headed home, dusk was approaching. Kyle quickly fell asleep in the car. His sleeping face in the rearview mirror looks angelic. But David at the wheel and Jennifer in the passenger seat look pale, almost like different people. When we got home, they rushed to leave. "It's late, why don't you stay over?" "No, we have things to take care of at home." David's voice shakes. Jennifer has already gotten into the car. Watching their departing backs, I wondered, was my decision to leave that line the right one? But why do they both look so deathly pale? That night, I clutched Mother's heirloom ring and prayed. What would tomorrow bring us? I had no way of knowing the answer yet. The next morning, after a sleepless night, I went to make my usual coffee when a newspaper headline caught my eye. Emergency stop on Busch Gardens roller coaster, control system anomaly detected early, major disaster averted. The white mug slipped from my hands. The sound of shattering ceramic pierced the morning silence. Maggie. Thomas, reading the paper, turned around startled. His eyes held an emotion I'd never seen before. Fear. Or guilt. Just then, my phone rang. It was Bank of America. "Mrs. Wilson, our routine audit has uncovered some concerns regarding your account. Could you come to the branch at your earliest convenience?" The bank's call was ice cold. "Yes, I'll come right away." As I started to prepare, I noticed Mother's old album that I'd been looking through last night, driven by anxiety. Flipping through the pages absently, I found a receipt tucked inside. In Mother's handwriting, Mary's Trust, beneficiary, Kyle Wilson. Dated just before her death. But the amount. This is different from what Mother told me. At the Bank of America branch, a young female banker led me to a private room. "Mrs. Wilson, we'd like to confirm several points about the trust account activity over the past 6 months." When she turned the computer screen toward me, I saw an unbelievable transaction history. Massive transfers. International wire transfers. And an abnormal increase in insurance policies. Were you aware of all these transactions? I was speechless. All the transactions displayed had proper authorization stamps. But I hadn't known about any of them. Leaving the bank, I found myself heading to First Baptist Church. Children's voices drifted from the Sunday school classroom windows. Maggie. Mrs. Sarah, the pastor's wife, rushed over. It must have been difficult. I heard about yesterday. Yesterday? Yes, about David suddenly resigning from the church's financial management position. And something about a long overseas business trip. In that moment, all the pieces started falling into place. Returning home, I heard my husband's voice from the study. Despite the late hour, he was on the phone with someone. "Yes, proceed as planned. The insurance money will definitely." "No, yesterday was unexpected. But next time." The conversation suddenly stopped when he heard footsteps on the stairs. Looking at Mother's photo, I pulled old documents from the drawer. They contained the true records of Mother's trust. The public figure of $70 million was just the tip of the iceberg. Mother had an even larger fortune in Swiss banks. And those who knew this fact I quickly opened my laptop and checked old saved emails. Mother's final message. Maggie, if you're reading this email, something must have happened. Actually, I made a certain decision. As I read through the screen, tears rolled down my cheeks. Why hadn't I noticed earlier? Kyle's innocent smile beamed from the photo frame. I could only pray that our adult greed and betrayal hadn't tainted those pure eyes. Outside the window, the moon was rising. Its light was quiet and sorrowful, like Mother's gaze. Tomorrow, I must make a decision. To prevent our family's collapse. And above all, to protect Kyle's future. In an interview room at the Williamsburg Police Department. Morning sunlight reflects off the coffee cup on the table. Mrs. Wilson, this is a serious matter. Detective Sarah Collins studies me from behind her glasses. Stacks of evidence documents I brought sit before her. Attempted insurance fraud. Misappropriation of trust funds. And an attempted accident. But it remained only an attempt. My voice shakes as I continue. Thanks to an 8-year-old child's intuition. Leaving the station, I headed straight to First Baptist Church. Though it wasn't Sunday, there was someone at the small church. Maggie. Pastor Michael was waiting in the prayer room. Your decision. Yes. I want to protect my family. But that won't be an easy path. I know. But. I take a deep breath, choosing my words carefully. Judgment and forgiveness belong to God. But there are things I can do. Face the truth, and show the path to redemption. In our living room. The evening light filters through the heavy air. David hangs his head. Jennifer can't stop her tears. Thomas stares out the window, motionless. The company's debt kept growing. David's voice is hoarse. Failed investments, snowballing loans. Was it your idea? This plan? At my question, Jennifer looks up. It was mine. Her confession is quiet. My family's business in Boston went bankrupt, my parents vanished. Under the pressure, I agreed. Thomas's voice resonates heavily. Retirement anxiety wouldn't go away. And our grandson's future. Greed drove us mad. What about Kyle? He knew nothing. David's voice trembles. Only a pure child's intuition stopped us. Silence dominates the room. The detective explained what happens next. I begin quietly. But there's still room for choice. A rehabilitation program. And establishing proper management of the trust funds. Maggie. Mother would say this, acknowledge mistakes, make amends, and be reborn. That's what a truly loving family does. Outside the window, birds are singing. Kyle, come in. The door opens. Kyle peeks in with a worried face. Why is everyone crying? We're sorry. Jennifer chokes up. We made mistakes, sweetie. Kyle slowly approaches his mother and wipes her cheeks with his small hands. It's okay. God will forgive you. The Sunday school teacher said so. His innocent words changed the atmosphere in the room. Light always pierces darkness. That's the truth an 8-year-old child taught us. I stand up, clutching Mother's heirloom ring. The path ahead won't be smooth. But our rebirth begins with facing the truth. 1 year later, early summer. Roses bloom proudly in First Baptist Church's garden. Grandma, look. Kyle takes a photo of David holding his rehabilitation program completion certificate. He now teaches swimming to local children every weekend. Jennifer has started volunteering in the church's counseling department. Her experience has become a light for others carrying similar burdens. Maggie. Thomas gently places his hand on my shoulder. The old sincerity has returned to his eyes. Thank you for showing us the path to redemption back then. Mother Mary's trust funds are now under strict third-party management. It's a testament to the lesson we learned. Grandma, do you remember today's Bible verse? Kyle asks with an innocent smile. Yes. The light shines in the darkness. I look up at the sky. I feel like Mother is watching over us. Acknowledge mistakes, make amends, and be reborn. That's the path our family chose. And now, the light of a new dawn